Hello, fellow crafters. It's Saturday and it's crafting day for me. Um, if you see my last video, I had a haul from Beaches, and I couldn't wait to get in there, dive in there, and make something of my haul. So I made these earrings. They are wire wrapped cowrie shells with one of the beads, this one here, that I got out of my haul. Oh, I just love it to death, and I'm going to show you how I made them. First thing I want to do is apologize for my mess because when taking the haul out, I was like, ooh, I could do this and this with this and this and this and this. So that's where I am. I'm using aluminum, 16 gauge aluminum wire, and because why this is the color. It's like a yellow, not gold, but yellow, but gold. And I thought it'll set off some of the colors in the bead. So I cut 16 inches, and then I took my nylon pliers. Now, if you're using aluminum wire, one of the things you gotta have is some nylon pliers. I ain't saying you gotta have it, but aluminum wire scratches very, very easily with the metal or the steel pliers and things like that. So what I'm doing, and I'm just warming it up and straightening it out. When you warm it up, it makes the aluminum wire a little bit tougher, and that's good because it is so easily bendable. You want it bendable when you're working with it, but when the person is wearing it, you don't want a whole lot of movement in it. So I warmed it up with my nylon pliers, and next thing I'm going to do is grab my cowrie shell, and mine is already pre-cut in the back. When you get an original cowrie shell from the ocean, they will have a cover. It will be full shell on the back. And so to make jewelry though, and to make it easier to use, you want to cut a hole in the back so that you can manipulate wire and whatever you're using through it. So what I'm going to do is going to take my 17 inches, and because I'm going to be adding something on the bottom of it, I'll show you how I did that. So what I'm going to do is place I'm going to use the smaller side to the top, so that'll be less wrapping. So I'm going to put about 2.5 inches, 3 inches above the top of the cowrie shell. I'm going to take it down, and then I'm going to determine where I want my loop. And where I want my loop, I'm going to take this out for a minute and get my round nose pliers, and I'm going to create that loop and just bring it around. And back up. Now what I'm going to do is place my cowrie shell back in the wire, in the middle of the cowrie shell. Make sure I feel it kind of pop in there. Mainly I'm just making sure it's steady and that it's in there. It's not secure yet, but it's in there. Okay? So next thing I want to do is I'm gonna twist. I can do this off. I'm gonna twist my wire one time. Okay, just so I can get that secure. Okay, now I'm gonna put it back in there. Okay, I want the long part to go in the back. My brother's calling me. And I'm sorry, distracted me for a second. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the back, and then I'm gonna take my long piece and wrap it around the short piece. Okay, as I do that, I'm gonna use patience, really, because I want this to wrap under each the one previous to that. So I'm going to keep wrapping it, and I'm wrapping it slowly so that I can get a good close wrap. Good close tight wrap. So I'm wrapping it slowly around. Slowly around. And if in the midst of it, if you want to move it or whatever, you can manipulate it. I didn't count how many wraps, and I'm not going to count how many wraps, but I'm going to put it side by side to see if it's close to being the same. One more time. Let's see. I'm gonna do one more wrap. Okay. This time when I get to the back, if you look at the back, I got a loop, and then it's going up and wrapping around the top. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is in the back, I'm gonna create that loop. Like I said, this is aluminum wire, and it's so easy to manipulate. So I'm just gonna make that loop by just using my thumb to hold it and wrapping it around. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make my loop for my earring wire. So what I'm going to do is take my round nose pliers and fold it. Then I'm going to wrap it around, bring it around, and then bring this around the base using my my nylon wire, pliers. I'm going to wrap this around one good time because I don't want a lot of bulk in the top. So I'm going to wrap it fully one time, and then I'm going to nip it in the bud, covering there. And then I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, bent nose pliers, and just squeeze. Okay, then I'm going to take this remainder and bring it over and wrap it around one time. One good time, that's all it takes. And move it down a little bit, make it tighter, and then I'm going to nip that in the bud. Oh my God, I did one earlier and I thought I was cutting one and I cut both of them. So needless to say, this is not the first time I attempted this. Okay, so this is the finished product. I have my loop in the top, have my loop on the bottom to attach whatever I want to, or if I don't want to attach anything, I would just not make that loop. I would just bring it around. When I brought it around, I would just bring it around tight. So it would just be sort of, like this. It'll be just around and going to the back. It wouldn't have a loop, but I wanted a loop. Okay, so next I really didn't want to put a jump ring on it because I didn't want it to be a different color. So I used my scrap, a scrap piece that I cut off, and made a head pin. So to make this head pin that I made, it's just a simple loop. So that's what I did. Just made a simple loop, bringing my pliers all the way to the end and turning. Make sure you take it all the way to the end, because if you don't, it will be straight right there. It wouldn't be that round curve, and that drives me nuts. And then I want to take it and bend it up so that it's straight up. And since this is just a head pin, I can squeeze it tight. Okay. Now I have my head pin. I put my, these are cut different, and you want to leave a flat head, if you can find one, on the top. And then I just put my beads on. I put a yellow, a green, a white, and she don't want to go on there. I can see she's not cut as big as the other one was. That went on just perfectly, of course. And you know, I just had these sitting out. Let me see if I can put an angle on this. And get that in there. No, she just, her hole is not as big as the other one was. Okay, now what you gonna do, Pam? I think this is a different bead. So let me look at my stash and see if I have. It's girls no telling, girl. It is no telling where I got that bead from. Let me look at my white stash. I think I see it. No, she's more like the other one. Yes, it's my white stash. my what you call it? Bead soup. White stash, and voila, there she blows. Thank you. And then the orange. Okay, so then I just make a loop around those pliers, and cut some of it off. I don't need that much. How do you gauge your loops? I always go to the tip of my finger, put my finger like this. Of course, everybody's finger is a different size. But then I take that and then I cut the rest off. Just go from side to side of my finger, and that's what I use to measure my loop. And then I just want to go. And before I close it all the way, I'm going to add it to my cowrie shell. And then close it. So there we have basically our earring. And because I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. I will figure it out. I did add a jump ring to this because the colors, and I didn't think that would be big enough to hold this gauge wire in this loop. But when I put it in there, my earring went sideways, and I was like, well, it's already long enough earring, and I didn't want to make it any longer, so I just had to force it in there. So what I did was took my ear wire and opened her up. See how tiny that is? Where's my camera? That is so tiny. I know it looks huge on camera. I should have maybe made some ear wires. But I was just so excited making the earring. And I'm going to tell you one thing about these beads. They are glass, and they are kind of heavy. Heavier than your regular bead. So I didn't want to put a whole lot of beads on it. And with these, if I'm making earrings, I probably will just put one bead on an earring, because they are kind of heavy. And close it back up. Make sure she's in there good. And voila, we have a pair of gorgeous African designed earring. Well, beads design. Wait a minute, let me put something else in. There we have it. Oh, aren't they gorgeous? I'm not saying it because I made them. I'm saying it because I love the colors. Yellow, green, and orange with some white and some blue in the earrings, but I didn't want to. And the reason why I didn't want to add, because I was matching it, trying to match it to this bracelet, which is yellow, orange, and gold. So I made this to really go with the bracelet. But I'm going to make another bracelet to go with the bracelet, because in bangles, this kind, I just didn't like the way it set on the arm. So I'm going to make some bracelets that kind of hold it up so that you can see the beads better. Well, that's my design. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back. Subscribe if you haven't. Click on the like button and leave me a comment. Oops. Bye.